Good morning, Rocky Vista family, and to all the family and friends that are in attendance here today. I am thrilled to welcome you all here to showcase this amazing venue right here in our very beautiful city of Ivins. Now, would you agree that this is truly a spectacular view here? And how fitting it is for this very special occasion. It is indeed a great honor for me to preside over the very first white coat ceremony of the Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine, Southern Utah. Now, to pay tribute to this great nation for the many freedoms we enjoy, will the audience please rise to pay your respects as we ask our very own student singing group called the Docapellas to the stage as they sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Please remain standing. I would now like to invite Chaplain Don Francis to the lectern to deliver the invocation. Chaplain Francis is a retired Navy chaplain and currently the chaplain for our wonderful partner, the Southern Utah Veterans Home.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Most Holy Father, Creator of heaven and earth, we know that you love us. We are so grateful to be here today at the beginning of this new education, of this journey which these young students are taking. We pray that thou wilt bless them and be with them, that their minds might be opened, that they might comprehend the things which they are studying, that they might be able to move forward and help those that they desire to help during their lifetimes. We pray for a blessing upon their families who will have to endure all of the studies and all of the long hours and the difficulties which they go through. Father, this is an effort towards loving of all mankind. We pray that we may use this and do this in the name of our Holy Father, even God. Amen.
That was a little Navy handshake there. After 30 years in the Navy, you gotta appreciate the sea services and the services that you provide at the Veterans Home for the great veterans that we have in this city. And let's just take a moment to recognize those veterans. Thank you. I think you're going to hear this 1,000 times, but class of 2021, wouldn't you agree? This is a spectacular view, and how fitting it is for this very, very special occasion. But for the class of 2021. You know, although this is going to be a great ceremony, and I have to redo my remarks here, because I was going to say we won't have the vocals of Mamma Mia, but I think I'd be embarrassed after listening to this. I think we do have the vocals of Mamma Mia. And I can assure you we don't have the physique of Tarzan, so keep trying. But we absolutely do have 135 new cast members whose stories compete with any of the stories of those young and women of Newsies. Believe me, if you've seen the stories that they've been able to put forward in that Broadway hit, you are writing a new chapter, and your stories are going to be equally vibrant and strong and community-based as those young folks in Newsies portray for us. The only show I've left out is Shrek. And unfortunately, I have a story there too. I love to meet the applicants, and these applicants could have gone anywhere. And so I humbly tell them the good news is that they've come to see us and to look at us, and then they're going to go on their journey to look at other places. And not unlike in Shrek, I look at them and I go, pick me, pick me. You know, so hopefully, you know, the donkey always wins. So, that's my run of Broadway shows. I'm sorry for holding you up. But we indeed are here to recognize, inspire, and seek the commitment of the next generation of osteopathic medical school students as they enter the pathway and transition from successful college graduate and many with additional career accomplishments to become healthcare professionals. And today we commemorate the success you've achieved, but more the challenge you've accepted. And in that, this white coat isn't the first day of the first week. Some of you have a better appreciation of the challenge that you've accepted. The challenge of becoming a caring, compassionate physician leader, serving with integrity and excellence. A physician that your loved ones would be proud of at the bedside of the terminally ill, or providing support and encouragement as your patients embrace a wellness lifestyle. The parents, families, and partners with us today or cheering from home are to be honored for your support and your support of your loved ones in this journey of becoming exemplary osteopathic physicians. I've traveled the country doing medical school accreditation visits, and I can assure you that you've exercised good judgment in making Rocky Vista your choice. You know, I have never witnessed a more engaged faculty and staff who are committed to achieving new heights in medical education and providing high-quality student experiences. I encourage you, the student body, to enjoy this day and think ahead to your commencement, because believe me, in spite of what you may have experienced in the last 6 weeks, it's a very short 4 years that will pass so quickly. And we'll be doing commencement here. Make your reservations now. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Tom Toll. Tom, please stand up, our founding dean of this beautiful campus in southern Utah. He's also Chief Academic Officer, Vice President of Academic Affairs. Mr. Chris Hart, please stand. Mayor and guiding light of our discovery and ability to become a part of this great city of Ivins. Miley Wilson, Mayor of Cedar City, who was one of the early promoters and supporters of us. Tim Anderson, our guiding light here, Chair of our Executive Advisory Committee, and major connector. Thank you, Tim. And Karen Gadas, Assistant Director of the local AHAC. And from our Board of Trustees, we have our founder, Mr. Iffy Tien. Dr. Lucy Chua. And our board chair, Dr. Maha Salam. I'd also like to recognize Dr. Whitehead, who's on our executive committee. Dr. Salam will now give greetings from the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Dr. Adams. Good morning, everybody. This is absolutely thrilling. Student doctors, congratulations on starting medical school. Making the decision to become a doctor is by no means an easy one. Some of you may have planning for this day and anticipating it since you were maybe in first grade, I'm not sure. But some of you may be surprising yourself by sitting here today. Regardless of how you got to this point, choosing to take on the challenges and becoming a physician is making it this far already speaks volumes about your talent, tenacity, perseverance, and compassion. We are so proud to have you as the newest members of our RVU community. The faculty and staff of Rocky Vista University, backed by the Board of Trustees, will strive to offer you world-class medical education over the next 4 years. As we support you and cheer you on, our hope is that you will go beyond achieving academic success. We hope you will seek to become the physicians who will truly improve the lives of the hundreds or maybe thousands of patients that you will encounter throughout your careers. It is a great responsibility, so prepare well. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I congratulate you again, and I thank the RVU faculty and staff, both here and in Parker, for working tirelessly to establish our new campus. I also want to thank the Southern Utah community for warmly embracing our university and welcoming all of us to beautiful Ivins. And not the least of which, I want to thank all of you family members and loved ones who are in this with you for the long haul. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Salam. You're going to hear this repeatedly, and a number of the folks are going to be featured here throughout the ceremony, but I'd like to have all of the long coats. You see these short coats? Let's have all the long coats, the faculty and staff of our campus here and our campus in Denver that are here. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you. The local airport is being endowed with many travelers from Denver and back, and we appreciate the effort that our faculty are making. At this time, I'd like to bring the father of the city here currently, certainly the individual who brought us to Ivins and said, "Why not Ivins?" We asked him, "What do we need to do?" And he said, "Show us what you have, and we'll hold your hands through this process and make sure that you stay in bounds. But nevertheless, we're not going to kill you with Ministravia, which would have happened in a number of other cities." Mayor, please join us, and we're excited again about honoring you and the city with which we now call home.
Mr. Tien, Dr. Chua, Dr. Adams, Dr. Told, Dr. Park, faculty and staff of Rocky Vista University, Mayor Wilson, and other assembled dignitaries, but most importantly, inaugural class of Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine, Southern Utah campus, your family and friends, welcome to spectacular Ivan City. I believe that fate was set in motion the day that the name of Rocky Vista University was selected. Can you imagine another place on God's earth where Rocky Vista University could be placed that would equal this? I've told many that Ivan City, Utah is the postcard for Rocky Vista University. And I cannot tell you how pleased we are as a community to have you now in our midst. We welcome you, students. In fact, we honor you, students. You've come to a small town. That's a little different for medical school. Almost all of them are in large metropolitan areas. And it's a series of interesting things that have brought you here. First of all, Rocky Vista has been, Dr. Told in particular, launched the effort to try and locate a medical school, an osteopathic medical school in the state of Utah. And that search went on for a number of years. And interestingly, it was the week of a selection being approved in another city in southern Utah when Tim Anderson's wife, as I understand the story, Ivan City owes her big time, by the way, told Tim, we need to go out and look at that site that was shown to us by the real estate broker in Ivans. So on a Sunday afternoon, Tim and his wife drove out to Ivans City and looked at the 30 acres upon which now this incredible facility now stands. And I don't know what happened in their hearts and minds, but somehow the fever was begun at that moment. And all who came here and took a look at Ivan City as the place where Rocky Vista University Southern Utah campus ought to be, seemed to agree that Ivan City should be its new home. Now, it's interesting being in a small town. Those of you who come from big cities, it's a little bit different. I want to thank those of you who marched in our annual Heritage Days parade. There were 20 or so of you that did that. Did you notice that as you marched around our old township area, that people applauded you on the way? They don't know you. Up to this point, you haven't done something remarkable within the city except that you qualified to be here. But they honored you because we as a community recognize the importance of this university campus being here in our midst. And having you, some of you as residents, some of you who come each day to be here, as a part of our community. You know you're in a small town when the fire truck is the highlight of the parade. I think a good comedian could take you know you're in a small town and make a pretty good sketch out of it. But in addition to that, you know you're in a small town when you are an important resident even before you become a doctor. And I hope that many of you will take the experience that you have here in Ivan City to heart and consider the small towns and communities across America that are underserved by medical services, and recognize that you would be even a more important resident in some of those places. You are going to go on to be doctors of all kinds and practice in all kinds of places. and specialize in all kinds of specialty medicine. But I want to give a shout out to small town America. Thank you. I'm going to do something bravely because I know this is not something that these two wonderful people would ordinarily be comfortable doing, but I would like to call Mr. Ife Tien and Dr. Lucy Chua to the stage if they would be willing to come up. For those of you who don't know, and you'd better learn quickly, these two wonderful people are the reason that Rocky Vista University exists, either in Parker, Colorado, or in Ivins, Utah. And what they together have built, yes. What they together with this wonderful assembled staff have built is a remarkable university and college of osteopathic medicine, one of the best in the United States. When I heard the astounding news that a medical school may locate in my community, I immediately went online and began to study Rocky Vista University. I'd never heard of it before, had no knowledge of what it was or how it ranked, and everything I've learned since has convinced me that the principles which you are going to feature today and embrace today as students have made their rise to the top amazing, frankly. Yeah, you can applaud that. That is an achievement. So with that meteoric rise, we expect that you, 135 students, are going to excel in the medical field. We expect that. We believe that. I had a chance to participate in the interview process with a few of you, and I've met others of you since. And I find you to be remarkable young men and women, one that any of us here in this community would be proud to call our own. And we are proud to call you our own. And so on this day, I present the key to the city of Ivins. Not that you need a key because we're almost always open, but the key to Ivins City presented to Mr. Ife Tien and Dr. Lucy Chua with deep appreciation for their selection of Ivins City as the location for the Southern Utah campus of Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine, 2017. To say something.
Well, I don't have a prepared script, so I'll keep it short. So I got into medical education actually by accident, believe it or not. And I wanted, my goal was is produce primary care physician for the country. There's really a great need. And also, as you get older, I'm 62 years old, and we hear terrible things. Well, it's good and bad. It's good that you kind of, you learn all the stuff that you shouldn't be doing in the past. So as you get older, you said, I don't want to do that because it was a terrible thing. Anyway, so I thought, it'd be really cool. And this is how it started actually at Parker. Started medical school, trained primary care physicians because, if you read medical literature, You know, they have all these studies. The PhD loves to talk about, you know, healthcare, manpower. Everybody likes to write things about it. And I said, you know, I really want to start a school to turn out primary care physician, particularly rural, with a rural focus, because there's a really big shortage. So that's how we start. That was the goal back in 10 years ago. And as I got older, I thought, you know, what terrible things we hear every day, maybe I can do something, make the world a little better. You know, if all of us can do something, whatever it may be, make the world a little better. And also, the individuals that will be training, believe me, you can get a really good education, and the factory's not going to go easy on you guys. That I could assure you. But, you know, and I realized, you know, a number of years ago that, you know, each one of you that graduate, you may not know it right now because all of you are young. You're just thinking about your next examination. But the impact it's going to have on you and your family, even though you may not be married, for a lot of you, the impact is going to be so tremendous that you probably don't even realize that today. So in my mind, each one of you that goes out in the community, when you finish from Rocky Vista and complete your residency, you'll be out there practicing for 50 years. And just imagine the impact you will have for yourself, your family, your community, and for the country. For me, that's really exciting that, you know, we're all going to die one day. And when you go, you say, you know, I did something nice and positive. You know, and that's what we need. So, and that was the impetus why I started Rocky Vista. So I'll just end it here right now. Welcome.
It is now my privilege to introduce our very special keynote speaker, a dynamite physician and leader, Dr. Thomas Nelson Told, also known as Dr. TNT. Dr. Told has been a mentor of mine for over a decade, and I am forever grateful for the opportunity he has given me in helping him achieve his dream of creating Utah's first osteopathic medical school. Dr. Told first came to Rocky Vista University in 2009 after 35 years of experience operating a rural family practice and multi-specialty clinic in Craig, Colorado. He is the past president of the American College of Osteopathic Family Physicians, the largest specialty college in the osteopathic profession, and one of the authors of the first standards for the ACOFP's Rural Family Medicine Residency Track. A nationally recognized expert in the field of procedural medicine, Dr. Told is very active in teaching procedures to students, residents, and physicians who wish to improve or extend their procedural skills. He is a founder and emeritus member of ACOFP's Procedural Medicine Institute and a distinguished fellow in the American College of Osteopathic Family Physicians. He was selected National Family Physician of the Year in 1995, the highest honor bestowed by the organization, and Outstanding EMS Medical Director by the Governor of the State of Wyoming in 2009 for outstanding service leading the Little Snake River Valley Emergency Services in Southwest Wyoming. In 2014, he was selected as a recipient of the Joseph W. Stella D.O. FACOP Distinguished National Family Medicine Educator of the Year Award. Dr. Told espouses practicing and teaching full-scope family medicine as a means of improving access to health care in rural and underserved areas in the Mountain West region. At Rocky Vista University, Dr. Told was the founding chair of the Department of Rural and Wilderness Medicine and the driving force in developing more rural training opportunities for our students and residents. A native Utahn, Dr. Told was instrumental in laying the original groundwork for establishment of a second medical school in Utah. He and his wife, Molly, are parents to 3 sons, and are grandparents to 5 grandsons and 5 granddaughters. It is now my distinct honor and privilege to call Dr. Thomas Told to the lectern to deliver the keynote address for RVU SU's inaugural White Coat ceremony. Dr. Told.
Thank you. Thank you. It's certainly a great honor. I certainly didn't expect this. You know, you'd hate to have the dean deliver the first inaugural address. But it certainly is a great honor to be a part of, just think of it, the second medical school in Utah in over 100 years, and the first osteopathic medical school. You just can't, I never thought it would happen. So, you know, it's great. I think this will be great for the Beehive State. And I know others have mentioned this majestic setting here, which sits at the mouth of Snow Canyon, just next to us, where so much history has been made for years. And I think it's an appropriate place to celebrate such an important achievement. In this land where rock formations command majestic titles like Kolob Canyon or the Prophets or Great White Throne or Angel's Landing, all of which inspire thoughts of greatness and at the same time reverence as we contemplate our reliance on that higher power who set these many forces in motion and control the intricate workings of the human body, which we seek to understand and treat. How could you not be inspired to greatness as you study and learn in these surroundings? Like, you are truly fortunate to have been given this opportunity this day, and we are likewise fortunate to have you join us here at Rocky Vista University, Southern Utah campus, on this most important step to become physicians. As Dr. Park mentioned, this has been a dream of mine for many years. And I planned to kind of tell you, they asked me if I would tell you a little bit about the journey here. But before we begin, I would like to just take a moment and have the class of 2021 rise. We're going to take a little poll here. You can do that. Now, we've mentioned a lot about rural medicine. So all of you standing would all those who have more than 2 hospitals in your community please sit down? Can you think a minute? You have to kind of count. If you have to count, use your fingers. Okay. With all of you that had more than 300 students in your high school graduating class, please sit down. Okay. Getting a little smaller, aren't we? Will all those that had more than 1 physician in their community please sit down? Wow, we'll see how this goes here. Will all of you that have only 1 stoplight in your community please sit down? Okay, very good. And finally, will all those who have not had to stop regularly for wild animals like moose, deer, elk, or farm animals like cattle, sheep, pigs, and horses to cross the road while you're going either to school, to the store, or to church, please sit down. I actually had a pig, we had to stop for a pig the other day when we were, so good. Okay, so these are the people remain standing. So the 4 of you, right, the 4 of you, your job over the next 4 years is to inspire these young people that are sitting here as to the virtues of rural medicine and rural practice. So I want you to go ahead and do that. You, like me, are truly allergic to cities, and I want you to know that that's what we do. So good, thank you, have a seat. Yeah. As Dr. Park mentioned, and I'll give you a snapshot of my journey to be here and why this has taken almost a lifetime. But my love of the land was imparted to me by my father, who taught vocational agriculture in southern Utah and then later in southwestern Wyoming. His occupation not only took us to some of the smallest towns in Utah, but it allowed our family to interact directly with the people as we accompanied him on the various visits to the students' homes, farms, and ranches to check on 4-H projects and FFA livestock and produce projects. I loved everything about these most hardy and resilient people, and they made an impression on me that has spanned my lifetime. These folks taught my mother how to make soap from tallow, how to quilt, and how to create numerous culinary masterpieces with just homegrown processes. My family would share their produce and meat during harvest or whenever they butchered a hog or a beef. But I saw these people shoulder life's trials with determination, and that which they couldn't surmount, they simply found a way around. Our relative isolation from the rest of civilization built self-reliance and resourcefulness, not to mention the endless activities these vast open spaces throughout southern Utah provided. Growing up here was exhilarating and always exciting, but with isolation came a huge price when bad things happened. Many a family had to make a race against death across open country, and often in less than ideal conditions. It was on one of those many snowy and frantic rides with my family, braving almost impossible drifts, that I decided that someday, if I could, I would do something to bring doctors to the many small towns that were scattered throughout rural Utah. Thank you. And we have, I hope. Doctors visited Wayne County, and I know there are some Wayne County folks here, from the big towns north in Richfield and Salina. But none ever stayed, leaving the people to rely on their own resourcefulness or resort to pioneer remedies that were often ineffective and sometimes harmful. The images are still clear today of returning home from school to a friend's house one afternoon and seeing the neighbors' cars parked outside and knowing instinctively something was very wrong. Upon entering the house, I saw what appeared to be the giant of a man lying under a sheet in the middle of the floor, right where he fell. His large feet and legs easily protruding far past the hem of the white cover that obscured his head and the upper half of his body. His massive boots were still on, and my friend's family, comforted by neighbors, sat distraught, quietly viewing the scene, knowing there was little they could have done to save him. The lack of access to good preventive medical care and no EMS services at the time had meant that my friend's father had to die suddenly in the prime of his life from a preventable disease, and there was little anyone could have done to change it. Even at that young age, I began to realize that something had to be done to fix this issue that kept doctors from coming to our little town. That thought would lead me on a lifelong journey to become a physician, and not just a doctor who sat comfortably in the city and occasionally ventured out to the country when the fishing was good or during hunting season, but one that would be trained broad enough to feel comfortable living right next to the patients that they treated in the small towns and share their life with them. Sure, there would be sacrifices of not having all the comforts of a large hospital and the largest specialty care, but then why couldn't a well-trained physician do what was necessary to deliver care, even with limited resources? My journey to enter medicine would begin right out of high school when I joined the United States Coast Guard Reserve in Salt Lake City at the beginning of the Vietnam years. And yes, Salt Lake did have a Coast Guard unit, I have to tell you. That was in case the earthquake came and California slid into the sea, Utah would be a coastal city. I trained as a hospital corpsman. I learned the essential daily patient care skills and a little bit of medicine and a whole lot of battlefield casualty care. It was during a 2-year hiatus from my college and Coast Guard duties for service to my church that I first came in contact with a doctor in the small southern Indiana town of Princeton that would change my life's course forever. This doctor was a little different from those I was used to, but he clearly happened to be the most popular doctor in town. Everybody talked about him in the store and in the barber shop and even in the churches. Curiously, he did not practice in the local hospitals with the rest of the MDs. Dr. Bruce Brink, as I came to know him, had converted a large two-story house into a hospital and a clinic where he cared for his patients. Over time, I would help our church members make it to his office with fractures and lacerations, as well as heart failure and diabetes, and he always seemed to get remarkable results. I was amazed. He was delivering quality care right next to a beautiful hospital, and he was doing it with a renovated two-story house converted into what appeared to be a very ample hospital. One of the new members of our congregation said, "We like Dr. Brink a lot. He doesn't seem like the rest of the doctors in town. He's as interested in us as he is in our medical problems." In fact, I could see little difference in what he did and what all the other physicians I'd worked with in the military and public health services had done in my training in the Coast Guard. Could his philosophy and style of practicing medicine be the answer to helping the small towns across Utah keep more physicians and give quality care without having to support a large hospital? As I studied his profession, I learned that he was a member of a uniquely American group of physicians known as osteopathic physicians that were fully licensed and similar in every way to the traditional physicians I'd known back home in Utah. But they used their hands a little bit more for diagnosis and treatment. And I learned that the little osteopathic hospital which Dr. Brink had developed and hospitals like that cared for nearly 1 million Americans each year in cities and small communities, mainly in the Midwest and Eastern United States. I also learned that their medical degree and education had in fact been founded by an MD by the name of Andrew Taylor Still in the late 1800s in Missouri. And his quest to find a safer, more effective way to deliver medical care led him to found this new medical profession he called osteopathy, with its own unique degree of DO. Dr. Still had started his profession not in large hospitals or big cities, but in the country, among rural folks of northeastern Missouri. And like Dr. Brink, he achieved remarkable results and quickly was embraced by the public, who benefited greatly from his work. His new profession grew rapidly and in parallel with the rest of the medical profession, so that in the Midwest and Eastern United States, there were many more osteopathic physicians and hospitals, and they remained equal in every way to their MD counterparts. Dr. Still's philosophy of looking at the patient as a whole person, mind, body, and spirit, and not just the sum of the parts, or the teaching that the body has the ability to heal itself, were concepts that I had learned from my youth. Yes, it did appear to me that Dr. Brink's profession could be the possible answer to my quest to become a rural physician that could deliver quality care with limited resources that so often existed in many of the western towns. I knew his professional philosophy would mesh nicely with the customs and feelings of many of the citizens of Utah, because he was so widely accepted by former Utahns that now were living in Indiana. When a funding dispute with the Utah legislature forced the University of Utah School of Medicine to accept less in-state students from BYU and Utah colleges in favor of collecting the higher tuition paid by out-of-state students to meet their budget, I found myself looking elsewhere to gain a medical education. It would be Dr. Brink's school in Kirksville, Missouri, that would answer the call by offering me a seat in the freshman class of 1973, and to boot, gave me a 4-year scholarship. Fate had made my choice simple. I would become an osteopathic physician, and I've never regretted that choice. Vietnam had prompted the military to begin drafting osteopathic physicians for full service as physicians and medical corps officers just 3 years before I entered school in 1968. and at graduation in 1973, I would answer the call to enter military medicine yet once again, but this time as a physician in the United States Army Medical Corps. I would be assigned to the Army's largest and finest medical center in San Antonio, Texas. Maybe some from William Beaumont might disagree. But I learned it a lot at Fort Sam. I learned the latest medical treatments like skin grafting burns or the art of bringing hundreds of babies into the world, skills I knew would translate well in rural practice. At Brooke Army Medical Center, however, I had the high honor of taking care of some of America's greatest heroes, the prisoners of war returning from Hanoi. By being a part of the process of restoring these remarkable men to full health, once again, I saw in real time what Dr. Still had observed so many years before, that the body truly has the enormous power to heal itself. These gallant individuals were abused beyond belief, yet their will to survive and the body's self-healing powers carried the day, and they returned home alive and with honor. It also sharpened my conviction that with patience, determination, and persistence, anything can be accomplished. The political climate for DOs getting privileges in Utah hospitals at the time I left the military precluded me from practicing in any of the hospitals in the state. Utah DOs had not gained the practice stature in the state they have now to be allowed by most medical staffs to hold privileges. So most practiced in their offices doing manipulation and outpatient procedures. Being a recently discharged medical corps officer, I definitely lacked the capital to start a little osteopathic hospital in a town like Dr. Brink had done in Indiana. If I was to practice full scope care, I would have to practice just over the border in Colorado, where DOs had practiced unrestricted medicine for decades. From Colorado, I felt I could continue to work with Utah osteopathic physicians to gradually open practice opportunities for DOs that would sure to follow. It would take a long time, decades, and 3 unsuccessful attempts with other schools of osteopathic medicine before I met the Tian family, who first established Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine, along with, and I gained those skills, and along with a chorus of physicians and educators, both here and in Colorado, both in Utah and Colorado, who shared that same vision of making another medical school in Utah become a reality, we were able to accomplish what we have today. So why am I telling you, the graduates of the class of 2021, the prospective graduates, I should say, I guess? I know that there are some of you here today that have had similar challenges reaching your goals to become a physician. I'm sure there are. Or maybe some of you have had some challenges bettering the access to community care, just like I did. I want you to know that whatever it takes and how long it takes, never ever lose sight of your goal. I can tell you for a fact that if plan A does not work, there are still 25 more letters in the alphabet to go. So keep on chipping away, and it will finally happen. Good. Yeah. One other thing, Norman Vincent Peale said at one time, success is no accident. It's hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, the love of what you are doing or learning to do. My wife Molly, who is here with me today, who struggled alongside me and supported me through college, graduate school, medical school, only to go ahead and sacrifice with me once more as we started our little practice in Colorado, pointed out a study that looked at success in medical school, the predictors, and the researchers looked at the usual things like subjects attended, subjects taken, university attended, prestige, performance, and of course, MCAT scores. And they concluded that these tools most schools use were not reliably predictive of success. The greatest predictor of success is what Dr. Peel had said so many years ago. It's the love of what you are doing or learning to do that really makes the difference and is the most predictable measure of success in medicine. It's about commitment and passion, what we call fire in the belly. I think Dr. Adams has certainly referred to that. I want to reassure you today that all this work and sacrifice will be worth it, because I believe that the practice of medicine is very much alive and well and remains one of the best occupations to enter and will remain so throughout your entire lifetime as well. Remember, the most important job you have before you in the next 4 years is to become the best physician you can be. Notice, I said physician and not specialist. Specialization will come after graduation, but the job of being a great physician starts right now. Specialization is what you do. Being a physician is what you are. You have done a great job, and I looked at your statement, in your vision statement, and I think that you will distill some of those when you repeat that statement at the end of this ceremony. Take those values to heart, internalize them so you can live up to them every day. Refer to them often when you're down or discouraged, for there will be solace in those phrases, and they will lift you up. I do it often. I look at the osteopathic oath or the oath of Geneva, and believe me, it works. Again, congratulations on being accepted into this great profession and choosing to make history here with us at Rocky Vista University in our southern Utah campus, in one of the most beautiful places, in one of the finest states in the Union. Thank you.
The white coat ceremony is a rite of passage tradition that we do to welcome medical students into the healthcare profession. The very first white coat ceremony took place in 1993 at the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York. It was initiated by a Dr. Arnold Gold, who was a professor of medicine at the time, who realized that students taking the Hippocratic Oath at the end of medical school occurred 4 years too late. Since then, he established the Gold Foundation and encouraged the white coat ceremony to be performed at the beginning of medical education to emphasize the importance of humanism in medical practice and training. Today, we are grateful to the Gold Foundation as it has generously provided a commemorative pin to each of the white coat recipients here among us. The white coat. I think we can all attribute the strong association of the white coat to the physician. But how did the white coat become such an iconic symbol of the medical profession? Well, interestingly enough, the color of the coats worn by physicians in the early 1800s was black. This actually made practical sense because black could easily hide blood and other stains made by the bodily fluids. Black was also the color of formality and authority, and thus commanded the respect of physicians who deserved it. Further, seeking care from a physician during that era was often done as a measure of last resort, and so death was frequently close at hand. And the physician's black attire therefore spoke to the solemn nature of the visit. During the late 1800s, the white coat, which was traditionally worn by scientists, started to become the new symbol of the medical profession. Now, this was due to several events that forever changed the way of thinking of the medical establishment. Around 1865, Dr. Joseph Lister first used antiseptic techniques in surgery after reading a published paper on the existence of microorganisms by a French chemist named Louis Pasteur. And so incorporating this new knowledge into clinical practice, Dr. Lister applied antiseptic chemicals to wounds and noted a dramatic decrease in the incidence of gangrene. His contributions thus started to move medicine from unproven medical practices and remedies to the realm of science. The second event occurred in 1889 when an artist by the name of Thomas Eakins painted an artistic piece to honor a famous anatomist and surgeon on his retirement from teaching at the University of Pennsylvania. The surgeon's name was Dr. David Agnew, and he is captured in the historic oil painting performing a mastectomy in this medical school's viewing amphitheater wearing a white coat, with all of his medical assistants and physicians also wearing a white coat. So now doctors wearing white coats slowly became part of popular culture of the time. And one last event I will mention is the publication of Sir William Osler's textbook of medicine in 1892 that officially portrayed the practice of medicine as a true scientific endeavor. It is because of these developments that have contributed to the borrowing of the white coat from laboratory scientists to medical doctors, associating doctors with purity and cleanliness. Now fast forward 100 years and we find ourselves in a very interesting position. You see, over the past 2 decades, the white coat has become a hotly debated topic with regards to its capacity to harbor bacteria and spread microorganisms. Evidence has clearly shown that pathologic bacteria can be isolated from the sleeves and the pockets of doctors' white coats, and thus suggests that white coats can act as a vector of transmitting infections amongst our patients. Quite the ironic turnaround to the history I just previously shared. Fortunately or unfortunately, there is no conclusive evidence that doctors' white coats actually increases infection rates among patients. But despite conflicting evidence and the objections of many doctors, the National Health Service in England implemented a bare below the elbow policy to all workers in the hospital system 10 years ago. Well, in 2013, there was an interesting study done to assess patients' preferences for doctors' attires. This multi-site observational study was initiated by the Queensland School of Medicine and the Center for Health Research in New Orleans, Louisiana. The study showed 4 images of the same male doctor wearing 4 different outfits. The first image was the doctor in professional attire wearing a white coat. The second image was the professional doctor attire with sleeves rolled up above the elbows without wearing a white coat. The third image was the same male doctor wearing surgical scrubs, and the fourth image was the same male doctor wearing a white coat over the surgical scrubs. Now, the results may seem predictable to some, and indeed, it was the first image of the professionally dressed doctor in a white coat that garnered the highest preference at 65%, followed by image 4 with a doctor wearing a white coat over his scrubs at 39%. Third place was the doctor in scrubs at only 27%, and the least preferred was the bare below the elbow image at 13%. To explore preferences results a little further, there was quite the gender differential, with 73% of women preferring doctors in white coats, and only 27% of men having a preference for white coats. So I guess it's true that women do like men in uniform. Now, what was really interesting about the study, however, was the second part of the study. After the initial preferences were documented, all the patients were then educated to the fact that white coats may theoretically increase the rate of infection transmission. And when asked if this new information would change their mind, the majority of the patients responded that it would not change their preference. And further, nearly 90% of the patients responded that this new information does not make them feel less comfortable with doctors wearing white coats. And as a matter of fact, the researchers suggest in their conclusions that patients feel a sense of comfort and confidence when doctors wear white coats. Now, this is only one study in one particular place in the United States, but this study does clearly demonstrate that patients like it when we wear our white coats. So wear your white coats, your clean white coats, with pride and a sense of duty until new scientific evidence proves that we shouldn't. Thank you very much. Now, we are at that point that certainly everyone has been waiting for, but before I do, there are some other people I would like to acknowledge and thank, and that is Erica Watley, our event specialist who's planned this for months, our faculty and staff who've been involved in this, and the leadership of Dr. Ruse and Vi, who've been working on this for months, and our employees who've been here since 7 a.m. setting this up. And also, I want to acknowledge and thank my wife, who I uprooted several times in my career choice as well, for being here and supporting me in this amazing new opportunity. Thank you, Susan. Now, at this time, I would like to invite the members of our faculty to the stage to coat our student doctors. Faculty members. As the faculty members make their way onto the stage, all 10 of them that are participating in today's ceremony, the student doctors will then process to the stage and individually announce themselves before lining up in front of a professor. We ask that you please hold your applause until each group of student doctors receive their white coats. As students exit the stage, they'll receive a humanism pin from the Arnold Gold Foundation that will be handed to them by our Assistant Dean of Integrated Curriculum, Dr. Michael Wells. Will the first row of student doctors please approach the stage?
Student Dr. Bradley McCann, Utah, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Grace Isaacson, Utah, the University of Utah.
Student Dr. Katie Zuspin, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Haley Shumway, Utah, Southern Utah University.
Student Dr. Tricia Tucker, Illinois, Loyola University, Chicago.
Student Dr. Andrew John, Minnesota, Gustavus Adolphus College.
Student Dr. Mandel Ide, Colorado, Utah State University.
Student Dr. Fujiko Rose Matsui, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Chris Stewart, Utah, Utah State University.
Student Dr. John Oxenis, California, Cal State Long Beach. Student Dr. Jake Allenson, Utah, Southern Utah University.
Student Dr. Emily Anderson, Utah, Utah State University, Ensign, U.S. Navy.
Logan Anderson, Idaho, Utah State University.
Student Dr. Patrick Arpin, New Hampshire, Sackler School of Biomedical Science, Tufts University.
Student Dr. Rafael Arteaga, Florida, from the University of Florida.
Student Dr. Sean Bailey, Utah, the University of Utah.
Student Dr. Richard Baluyot, Nevada, University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Student Dr. Brian Beatty, Washington, Gonzaga University.
Student Dr. Gabriel Betancourt, Utah, Brigham Young University, Second Lieutenant in the Air Force.
Student Dr. Ethan Bowman, Tennessee, University of Tennessee, Knoxville.
Student Dr. Zach Farrell, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. John Evans from Utah, Utah State University.
Student Dr. Dallin Elmer, Utah, Toro University.
Student Dr. Jake Agate, Colorado, University of Colorado.
Student Dr. Afshin Idrisi, Utah, Purdue University.
Student Dr. Joanna Durfee, Utah, Southern Utah University.
Student Dr. Jesse Dewey, Ohio, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Jordy DeLisle, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Stephen Krager, California, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Jason Corliss, Utah, Arizona State University, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Kyle Christensen, Utah, Weber State University.
I'll go again.
Student Dr. Stella Chan, California, Rocky Vista University, Colorado campus.
Student Dr. Zachary Citraro, Utah, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Tony Casper, Utah, Utah State University.
Student Dr. Ethan Burke, Colorado, Colorado State University.
Student Dr. Garrett Bergen, Utah, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Jacob Zachary Birch, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Matt Brockway, Utah, Dixie State University.
Student Dr. Jonathan Brick, Ohio, John Carroll University.
Student Dr. Adam Bradford, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Carol Fordham, Utah, Dixie State University.
Student Dr. Angelo Garcia, Texas, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Robert Garrett, Utah, Utah State University.
Student Dr. Garrett Garrity, Utah, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Christopher Gay, Nevada, University of Nevada, Reno.
Student Dr. Sarah Gosland, Utah, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Austin Gottschalk, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Tyson Hamilton, Utah, Brigham Young University, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Kosia Hatch, Ghana, Whittier College, California.
Student Dr. Colson Healy, Utah, Southern Utah University.
Student Dr. Jamin Hemingway, Utah, Westminster College.
Student Dr. Alexander Hetrick, Alabama, Eastern Mennonite University of Virginia.
Student Dr. Austin Horn, Oregon, University of Oregon, go Ducks.
Student Dr. Andrew Hunt, California, Midwestern University.
Student Dr. Jabronic Ball, Texas, University of Texas at Austin.
Student Dr. Taylor Jackson, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. David Jeffs, Utah, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Emily Jensen, Colorado, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Tracy Jensen, Utah, Dixie State University.
Student Dr. Boris Stratovsky, New York, Colgate University.
Student Dr. Mick Juarez, V, Washington State University.
Student Dr. Tyson Nickel, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Peyton Newman, Utah, Southern Utah University.
Student Dr. Stuart Montenegro, Nevada, Brigham Young University, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Pauline Meza, Nevada, University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Student Dr. Tyler Menzies, Colorado, Concordia University, Portland.
Student Dr. Ben Mehmet, Utah, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Cameron Meekum, Utah, Utah Valley University.
Student Dr. Colby McWhorter, Arkansas, Brigham Young University, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Jake McCrae, Utah, BYUI.
Student Dr. Keeling McLinn, Texas, University of North Texas Health Science Center.
Student Dr. Scott McIntosh, Utah, Utah Valley University.
Student Dr. Valerie Martin, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Miguel Lopez, California, San Francisco State University.
Student Dr. June Lee, California, Emory University.
Student Dr. Josh Lloyd, Utah, Weber State University.
Student Dr. Jason Lee, Utah, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Rachel Levitt, Utah, Boston University.
Student Dr. Vishal Kadapali, Oregon, Portland State University.
Student Dr. Ryan Knight, Arizona, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Shannon King, Arizona, Northern Arizona University.
Student Dr. Andrew Kimber, Utah, University of Utah, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Justin Judd, Utah, Utah State University.
Student Dr. Brandon Nielsen, California, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Talmadge Nielsen, Utah, Brigham Young University, Idaho.
Student Dr. Marcus Oliver, AZ, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Chimzi Onone, Texas, University of Houston.
Student Dr. Alex Ortiz, North Carolina, the Citadel Military College of South Carolina, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Sean O'Shaughnessy, Washington, Gonzaga University.
Student Dr. Tyson Oswald, Idaho, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Janak Patel, California, University of California, Santa Barbara.
Student Dr. Cody Patterson, Utah, Southern Utah University.
Student Dr. Andrew Fan, California, University of California, San Diego.
Student Dr. Jonathan Polson, Utah, Utah Valley University.
Student Dr. Natalie Pratt, Utah, University of Utah, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Jonathan Pulsfer, California, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Prasanna Ranganathan, New York, Tufts University.
Student Dr. Aaron Rager, Oregon Health Science University, Captain, United States Army Nurse Corps.
Mike Reese, Wyoming, Utah State University.
Student Dr. Ben Robbins, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Claire Redmond, Colorado, University of Colorado, Denver.
Student Dr. Ryan Sanchez, Texas, University of North Texas Health Science Center.
Student Dr. Chris Sasita, Utah, Southern Utah University.
Student Dr. Shiva Sharma, New York, Methodist University.
Student Dr. Taylor Sarine, Utah, Southern Utah University.
Student Dr. Dylan Winkler, Montana, Montana State University, Bozeman.
Student Dr. Julia Winge, Washington, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo.
Student Dr. Jared Wilson, Utah, Southern Utah University.
Student Dr. Rob Whittier, Utah, Weber State University.
Student Dr. Christian Whittier, Utah, Weber State University.
Student Dr. Michael Connor Weston, Montana, University of Montana.
Student Dr. Connor Weiser, Colorado, University of Colorado at Boulder.
Student Dr. Matt Train Webb, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Aisha Vora, New Jersey, Rutgers University.
Student Dr. Jake Van Weesup, Utah, University of Utah, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Taylor Van Leeuwen from Utah, the Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Jordan Valenta, Kentucky, Brigham Young University, Idaho, Second Lieutenant in the United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Brandon Trujillo, Utah, Westminster College.
Student Dr. Abby Trin, California, University of California, Riverside.
Student Dr. Jacob Tyndall, Illinois, SIUE, Second Lieutenant, the United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Kelly Tickey, Colorado, the University of Toledo.
Student Dr. Andy Tai, California, University of California, Davis.
Student Dr. Sterling Stoley, Utah, Brigham Young University, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Parker Stocking, Utah, University of Utah.
Student Dr. Andrew Steinecke, Utah, Utah State University.
Student Dr. Joel Spear, Utah, Utah Valley University.
Student Dr. Dylan Smith, Utah, Utah Valley University.
Student Dr. Chad Skidmore, Utah, Utah State University, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force.
Student Dr. Sam Zarbach, Utah, Brigham Young University.
Student Dr. Brent Wright, California, Brigham Young University. Student Dr. Taylor Yancey, Nevada, the University of Nevada, Reno.
Student Dr. Rebecca Witt, California, Chapman University.
Student Dr. Ben Winter, Idaho, Brigham Young University.
Wow, here comes the sun. I've always wanted to be on the Tuacahn stage. What a privilege it has been, just at the outset, as faculty and staff, to be able to work with your sons and your daughters, your friends, as they embark on this adventure, and as we embark on it together with you as new staff and faculty at this inaugural school. It's been such a privilege. During orientation, students were asked to create a vision statement for their 2021 class. We're pleased with the way that they took on this task. This vision statement will be their guide as they progress through medical education and on to successful careers. In creating this statement, teams were formed to brainstorm together, and the best ideas were brought forward. From these ideas, a vision statement was created that will inspire the class and help them to reach for excellence. I'd like to thank and recognize everyone, and in particular the core group that came together. So I'd like to read their following names: Gabriel Betancourt, Aisha Vora, Tricia Tucker, Claire Redman, Sean O'Shaughnessy, Fujiko Rose Matsui, and Jesse Dewey. I thank you for your efforts. Yes, thank you. We framed the vision statement that's going to be hung in the building, and we ask students to refer to it often as you think about your progression towards accomplishing your dreams and your goals here at Rocky Vista University. At this time, I'd like to invite our student government president, Bradley McCann, to join me on this stage and to lead the class in reciting the class of 2021 vision statement.
So before we do that, I'd like to invite everyone to turn to it towards the back of your program, right? I want to point out two things. The beginning, the very first word, it says we, and that's us. We're doing this together. And then the very end, it ends with an exclamation point. So remember that when we're reciting it. But for the inaugural class, can we all rise? And join with me as we recite together our vision statement. We, the inaugural class of 2021, Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine, representing the Southern Utah campus, vow to establish a tradition of integrity, excellence, and innovation for the current and future students of our Southern Utah campus. Seek to attain an education rooted in evidence-based medicine, and to do so with a balance of humility and confidence. Pledge to create a positive and supportive environment that encourages collaboration and mutual success, celebrating our individual strengths while cultivating lifelong relationships. Devote ourselves to upholding the rich heritage and philosophy of osteopathic medicine, serving as a role model and advocating within our communities for a high level of wellness in mind, body, and spirit. Strive to be pioneers in the development of new healthcare technologies and practices, advancing medical knowledge in a changing world. Communicate with our future patients in a supportive and caring manner that bridges the gap between healthcare and individuals. Commit to remain passionate, curious, and dedicated in pursuing our dreams, both personally and professionally. We are RVU.
Well, with that, these proceedings are officially concluded. Family and friends are invited to greet student doctors in the main lobby at the conclusion of the recessional. We would also like to invite you to join us over at the RVU campus, which is right at the foot of the Big Red Mountain, for a luncheon, which begins at 11:30, and a tour of the new building with your students as your guides. Faculty will provide demonstrations and give you a glimpse of what the students are learning. And we will also have tours of the housing units from 2 to 3 p.m. today. Will the audience now please stand until the end of the recessional?